When trying to lose weight or body fat, you may often come across the term that you need to be in a calorie deficit in order for you to achieve such results. In today's video, I'll be discussing what a calorie deficit is, how to create a calorie deficit, and whether it actually produces results in terms of fat loss and weight loss. Exchange for kings. A calorie deficit simply means that you're consuming less calories than what your body actually expenses throughout the day, i.e. you're consuming less calories than what you're actually burning. We as humans, when we're consuming food, we're actually taking in fuel. We're actually taking in an energy source, which at times our body will store, almost like a survival mechanism. That storage quite often leads to fat, and that fat, that build-up will enable us to put on weight. However, for example, if in order for me to retain my current weight, I will need to consume 2,500 calories, but I'm only eating 2,000 calories, then I'm in a deficit. I'm in a deficit of 500. One thing that we need to remember that when trying to lose weight, it's a daily thing. It's not something that you do one day and then another day and then stop. You have to be consistent when you're trying to lose weight or fat in general. In order to create a deficit, this can be done in multiple ways. You could simply create a calorie deficit by burning more calories, i.e. being more active on a regular basis throughout the day, whether that's being walking, running, being on the treadmill, or doing any form of cardio. Or you could eat less calories throughout the day, or a combination of both. If you're someone like myself who Monday to Friday who's based in the office, sitting at a desk, literally typing away and hardly getting no more than 7,000 steps in, then I would highly suggest that in terms of you creating your calorie deficit, you do it via the food you're consuming. Lower your food intake in order for you to create the deficit. However, if you're a builder, a tradesman, or someone who's just active on a daily basis, then you could quite easily consume enough calories at your current maintenance level and still drop the body fat. The amount of body fat you lose per week simply comes down to how aggressive you're willing to take the deficit. By aiming a calorie deficit of 500 per day, that should enable you to achieve losing a pound of body fat per week. Now, I would say this, by aiming to lose a pound of body fat per week is absolutely fine. It's sustainable. You won't be overstressed. You won't have, you won't feel drained. A lot of the times when losing body fat, especially if you're starting off for the first time in terms of your weight loss journey, the weight will literally start to fly off you. You'll see results quite quickly and you'll feel amazing for it. However, if you're aiming for sort of like 700 in terms of deficit or above, that's when it gets quite tedious. That's where it gets quite draining. This can often lead to stress and literally you giving up. So think wisely when you're creating your deficit. I know everyone wants quick results to post on the gram or social media or whatever it may be, but losing weight should be long-term as opposed to a quick fix, especially if you're not competing. If you're someone who goes to the gym, just normal, regular 9 to 5 office worker or whatever your trade will be, and you're not competing, then I would suggest in terms of losing that body fat or losing that weight, aim for long term. Do not go over aggressive and try to aim for quick fixes, because what will happen is you'll burn out, you'll feel drained, and you end up resetting, i.e. eating above your calorie deficit, eating above maintenance, and you'll put the weight back on. Now, when it comes to creating a calorie deficit specifically for you, this can be done in multiple ways. However, the next 3 methods I'm going to show you is the ways which I highly recommend, which has seen a lot of people gain results over the last few years. So kicking off with method 1. This is simply by taking your weight in pounds and multiplying it by 11. This will give you an indication of the amount of calories you need to consume to be in a moderate deficit. For example, if my current weight is 175 pounds and I multiply that by 11, that's going to give me roughly around 1,925. That is the amount of calories I will need to consume to start losing weight in terms of reaching my goal. Now, rather than the 1,925, I would round that down to 1,900 calories. I will stick by doing that for the next perhaps 4 to 6 weeks. If I do not see any form of results, whether that's by the scale or my clothes getting looser, then I will drop my calories a bit further. What you need to remember is you're not necessarily going to see a dramatic drop within the first week. Give it at least 4 to 6 weeks to see any form of improvement. If you're not seeing any form of improvement, whether it's the scales or clothes or wherever it may be, that's when you switch up your calories. that's when you drop it down in terms of perhaps by 100 calories or so. Method 2 is by taking your target weight in pounds and multiplying it by 12.5. That again will give you an indication of how many calories you will need to consume each day in order to reach your target weight. Again, if my target weight was 168 pounds, I would times that by 12.5, which will give me 2,100 calories. Again, I would round that down to 2,000 calories and literally eat that each day over a course of 4 to 6 weeks. And finally, method 3 is simply by using an online total daily expenditure calculator where you enter personal details, the likes of your current weight, height, sex and activity levels, and it will give you an estimate of how much calories you need to consume each day in order to reach your target goal. Quite often described as a TDEE calculator, these are often pretty accurate. They're quite good. I'm literally going to leave a link below in my description in terms of the calculator I've used across the years in order for me to reach my goals. Again, they are not perfect. That's one thing you need to consider. They are not perfect, but a lot of these methods are very good. They give you very good indications of where you need to be, how much you need to consume in order to reach your goal. Listen, at the end of the day, calorie deficits, they do work. They do work. I mean, they're not quick fixes. You're not going to lose weight just like that. And, you know, to post on the, like I said, you're not going to lose weight just to post on the gram. You're not going to lose weight just like that. These things take time. I highly suggest you're consistent in your approach when you're trying to lose weight or body fat in general. Do not think it's a quick fix. I would say give it 3 to 6 months to see a real change in terms of your physique. Be consistent in your approach. Ensure that you are continuing doing resistance training, i.e. weightlifting. Do not cut out any form of weight training. It's important in terms of your weight loss journey, so do not cut that out. When you're eating your meals, again, make sure, regardless of what foods you're eating, whether it's salads all the time or chicken, rice and broccoli, and you believe that you're eating healthy, again, I've said this in my previous videos, you could eat as much healthy meals as possible every single day, literally. If you are not in a calorie deficit, which I've just explained, you will not lose weight. Anyway, my good people, if you're feeling this channel, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But until the next episode, get them gains.
Exchange for gains. Move it, Karen. Time I make those lifestyle changes. Do it like Darren.